Well, Bill, how could somebody be afraid of success? I mean, after all, isn't that why we get into voiceover? To be successful. Yeah. Yeah, it is. But if you could sit with me as I've sat and worked with and coached hundreds and hundreds of voiceover talent, the number of times that I've heard, but I'm afraid, what do I do once somebody hires me? And you know what? I understand that because I've been there and I know what that feels like. Have you ever felt that way? Okay, I've done all the things I need to do. My website's up. I got my demos. I'm properly trained. And but I don't feel terribly confident. I'm new, but it's time to go. It's time to go. But what happens if somebody hires me? And then your mind starts to run through all of these scenarios. Like, well, what if they say, well, your audio doesn't sound like your demo? Or what if I'm not as good as they think I sound on my demo? Or what if there's some words I can't pronounce in the script? Or what if you're afraid to be hired because you're afraid that once you're hired, you're found out to be the fraud that you believe you are. And let me let you in on a little secret. Everybody who works in the performing arts either feels like or has felt like a fraud at some point in time. And I think most people struggle with that off and on. I know I do. There are times when I think, wow, how did I ever, I look back at my career and I think, how did I ever do all of the things that I've done? The companies that I've worked for, the campaigns that I voiced, the money that I made. It seems crazy to me that I would have been able, to do that. And so it's no wonder that we often, we know who we are. And sometimes the way we see ourselves is different than others. And we don't value ourselves oftentimes as highly as we should. And I just say all of that to say, it's okay. Every performer struggles with that whole thing. Am I good enough? Am I enough? Well, I just want to assure you today that you are enough and that you are good enough. There are people who are ready to hire you, whether you're new at this or whether you're experienced at this. But the only way you get there is to work through the fear of success. Because, yes, somebody's going to hire you, and it's going to be go time. And that microphone's going to come on. There's going to be somebody in your ear directing you at some point or giving you feedback on a project. And that's the part that terrifies you. And I get that. But I want to tell you, much like other things in business and in voiceover, that the fear is really, it's a paper tiger. It looks ferocious and it looks like it will consume you. But it's nothing but parchment paper that you have to stick your finger through, and you poke through it and you move on. But the only way you do that is to go through it. Hopefully you'll take a little comfort in knowing that you're not the only one. Everybody, we all struggle with this thing about us being a fraud. Why us and why would anybody, want to hire us? And maybe that's why we do work in the performing arts, maybe to prove to ourselves that we are worthy. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, but I do know this, and I've done this long enough, and I've recorded over 10,000 paid projects over the past 20 years, that you're going to be okay. You're going to be fine. As I look back at all of the many, many, many sessions I've done, I cannot think of a bad experience that I've had. Aside from that one session I told you about with Ethan Allen Furniture, where my Source Connect wasn't working correctly and I didn't realize it. That's a whole other story. We can talk about that another time. But nobody's ever been angry with me. Nobody's ever yelled at me. Nobody's ever swore at me. I mean, nobody's ever hurt my feelings. You're going to be okay. If you want to be a voiceover talent, at some point you got to pull the trigger and you got to start marketing. Regardless of whether you're afraid of success, or you're afraid of failure, you've got to pull the trigger and move forward. And that's why we created VOflow.io to make, I was talking to my business partner yesterday about VOflow it's really you remember the easy button for Staples? It's the easy button. It's the most comprehensive software I've ever seen of its type. And it's so easy to use, and it helps you get over that hurdle and to start filling that pipeline full of prospective clients. That's what we want for you. And if you want to learn more about it, you can go to VOflow.io.